This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com. Hello everybody, it's your old pal Rob. Today we have a very special interview today. Chris Bartles, of course I mess up his name, and I mess it up several times, from Everything Epic Games. One of the reasons is that he's on is I really feel that, first of all, he's a very good friend and has always been good to the channel. But I wanted to talk about the struggles of being a small publisher nowadays, especially with all the stuff that's going on with, as we know, that the problems that people have had with Mythic, the drama there, and how legitimate good companies shouldn't be punished for a bunch of companies that do mismanagement. When people are struggling and living game to game, and other people are just doing things wrong. So we're going to talk about that, some of the things that he's been through, how he became about this, and I think you'll really enjoy this interview. Without further ado, let's head on over. Everything Epic Games, Chris Bartles. Hey everybody, it's your old pal Rob once again with another interview from from somebody that has been a very dear friend of mine and such a fantastic designer, company owner, just all around good person, and somebody I really feel privileged to have here on the channel. As I push something out of the way that I just noticed was in the camera, none other than from Everything Epic Games, Chris Bartles. Did I say it right?
Hey, close enough for government work.
Okay, yeah. How do they say it in Greek again?
Bartles.
Bartles.
Bartles, yeah.
Bartles. Yeah, I was better off saying Bartles.
Yorgos Bartles.
See?
You're going to be Greek about it.
Now, you just recently relocated to Texas, correctly?
That's right. I'm a Texan now. Card carrying and everything.
How do you like it down there? How do you like the heat down there?
Well, the heat is, people say a lot of things about it because it gets to 110 degrees. Last year, we had like 2 weeks of 108, 110, 108 for 2 weeks straight. And, it's hot. When it's 110, it's hot. But It's funny because when I was in New Jersey, all my life, 37 years in New Jersey, it got to 90 and you would feel like that 110 because of the really thick humidity. You walk outside and it's like 95% humidity, 95 degrees, and you're like, I can't breathe. You're just dripping sweat. So, and honestly, it's just as bad in Indianapolis for Gen Con. There was 1 year in Gen Con when they never turned the air on while we were setting up. This is one of my favorite stories. And me and Jim Sammartino, my old partner for Secrets of the Lost Tomb back in the day, we're standing there trying to set up the booth. We're like putting together this cool tomb booth, and we got the standees of the monsters and all that stuff. And we're just dripping, pooling sweat, ready to pass out because it was like 110 degrees in the convention center. They wouldn't turn the air on for the people to set up. It was crazy.
Well, I remember that year because that was the year that Sam and I came over to you. Yeah, that's when we first met, actually.
Pooling sweat like monsters.
Oh, that was brutal. We're going around trying to tape stuff, and they wouldn't turn on the air. It was like it was like 92. Now, and
no air moving. It was crazy.
Yeah, because you're right about something because here in Florida, you all you think is it's unbelievable, the humidity, this, that, and the other. But I'm also from the Northeast originally and from Connecticut, and the funny thing about it was that when it was 90, 91, you thought you were going to die.
Yeah,
that you couldn't leave the windows open, you couldn't do anything because it was so thick.
Yep.
That it was like nothing you can ever understand. Now when it got hot down here, I mean, it's hot, but it's not that thick,
Yeah.
thick, and you
And there's a
can't even
breeze.
breathe.
There's more of a breeze on the coast or in Florida and in Texas. There's a lot of wind over here. We get a lot of
Oh
air.
yeah,
So, you know,
But boy, when we get breezes in August, that's the ones that we don't want.
yeah, well, the excessiveness is the problem. We don't want the hurricane breezes or the typhoons or whatever.
Because every once in a while I'd go with my wife and I go, oh God, why did you want to come here? I know you want to come here. I hate it. I get all annoyed because I can't stand it when it's super hot. And she goes, and she said something that really made a lot of sense to me. I don't care where you go. There's one part of the year that always sucks. I go, yeah, because when you get snowed in and it's minus 15 and you can't do anything. Well, that's the part of the year that it sucks there.
Yep.
Great to be here.
Yep.
And then you get a couple of really nice days up in the summer up there, but it's a little hot here.
Yep.
And then you got Tornado Alley. There's something everywhere, no matter where you go. No matter where you go.
Yep.
No matter where you go.
Only control what you do with it, right?
Yeah.
You can't control God's weather, but you can control how you react to it and where you want to be to the best of your ability.
Absolutely.
I got great air conditioning, thank God. If it's that hot, you just stay inside, but you don't get snowed in from the heat.
No, you just stay in.
You just have to stay in. But if you really need to go somewhere, you can. Last time I was in New Jersey, the year before I left, there were literally like 6-foot snow drifts.
Mm-hmm.
They act like there's no snow in New Jersey, like it's a paradise. No, there's a lot of snow in New Jersey. They're just prepared for it. They got 5 million plows. So,
I mean, if we ever got 2 inches of snow here, I think the world would end.
Zombie apocalypse.
The zombie apocalypse is right. Speaking of zombies and all these other great things, when you think about the catalog of what you've put out over the time. Now, how long has Everything Epic been around? It's got to be about 12, 14, 15 years.
Yeah, so I used to be a teacher. I was an English teacher for about 5 years. Suddenly one day I said, I should make a board game. I love board games. Why don't I make one?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there's no Indiana Jones board game. There's nothing that's really has that cool theme. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this. And I'm going to add all of this stuff I love from my favorite movies, comic book, TV shows, everything. I'm going to come up with my own stuff, bring in all of my influences and make something. So back in 2012, out of nowhere, I was like, I'm going to make a board game. Okay. Secrets of the Lost Tomb was born. The first edition box is this big, huge. Almost creepy. I was out of my mind. I was trying to make the Fortune and Glory box look shameful in front of it because it was so big.
Oh, it was massive because I had the old edition, and when you got the new edition, I ended up getting that, and then the old box went.
Yeah.
And I was doing a live stream, and that was the very first time we actually met. Was that you were commenting on the game and how we
around.
Yeah, and how we broke the game because we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
I just want to help,
no, it was great.
A lot of developers, I feel like they put the game out and then they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still here on BGG every day, commenting on stuff. I try to help people out if somebody's struggling. I myself, I own the company. I do everything myself. I come on and I try to help people out. Why not? I made the game. I'm here to help. But, I got other things I got to do too, but I try to do that too,
But that game is glorious. Now, with that said, okay, because that's the very first one. But, I mean, you have a long catalog. But from what we've discussed, you're actually thinking of maybe redoing that, right?
It is. We're making it the 10-year anniversary. It's crazy for me to even say that my own game has a 10-year anniversary, but because of some of the gods above, they decided to say, Chris, we're going to keep you around here in the industry somehow, because there's been a lot of crazy things throughout the years that have happened. A lot of crazy things that most people would give up. They burn out. They throw their hands up. They whatever, right? We just keep going. And so 10 years plus have gone by. Secrets of the Lost Tomb deserves the epic treatment. So we're doing Secrets of the Lost Tomb Epic Edition. So kind of like what we did for Agents of Smersh, where we took an old game that was about 10 years plus old at that time. We took all the art, we took all the graphic design, some of the mechanics. And for Tomb, we're barely touching the mechanics. We're just cleaning it. We're giving a nice polish, a shine. We're getting rid of stuff that's maybe broken or not, that wasn't really used by players. And I have a huge Board Game Geek giant post where I said, everybody, we're going to redo this game. What do you want? And people went crazy. And they're still going. For over a year plus, people have been posting, I would love to see this. I hate this. I love this. I love this. And I'm reading all of what the fans want. I'm trying to do my best to, of course, keep the game to what people love, clean the rules, fix all the graphic design, redo all of the art that we can redo, that we can afford to redo. Like all of the tiles are getting a brand new art by Henning Ludvigsen, the guy who did the tiles for Mansions of Madness and Imperial Assault and all the best tile games you've seen. That's the artist I hired because he's the best. I worked with him for Big Trouble in Little China, the game too. The original tiles are done by my friend Jim. Jim was not a graphic designer, but this is 10 plus years ago. We didn't have any money at all. We did anything we could with my small, tiny savings that I saved as a teacher to try to make it happen, and we made it happen after toiling countless hours every day and every night, doing everything we could. But now we have a few bucks, not a lot, but enough to make the game as epic as we always dreamed. You know, redoing the tiles, redoing all the character art has been redone, all the graphic design of all of the character sheets, how the character sheets work, all of the iconography. Everything's going to be clean, easier to read for old guys like myself who now I just had to go get glasses the other day. I had to get driving glasses. You know, yeah. Listen. You know,
They're called readers.
40. Listen, I'm getting to 40 soon. You know, I know I can't compete with you, my friend. You know, but
You what? You what?
I'm getting close to 40 soon, a couple of years, and I need glasses too.
You know, I wish I was 40 again, all those years ago. God, I think they just invented the radio or something like that. Jesus. Christmas kids.
They just invented dice for board games back in ancient Egypt, back in those days, right? When you were a time traveler.
Now, are you now with this re-release or it's going to go to Kickstarter, obviously, correct?
Yeah, it's either going to be Kickstarter or GameFound. We just did a GameFound recently, had a great experience with them. One of the real big benefits to GameFound is everything is in one place. For us, it's the crowdfunding, the actual backer kit, like the actual pledge manager, and the marketing. It's all in one place. The pre-orders, all in one place. So it makes it a little easier for the backers and for me, the creator, because I'm one guy and I have one employee, just one, me and one guy. So if I got to go to 3 or 4 different websites and everything's all over the place, which I've been doing for 10 years, sometimes it makes it a little bit more challenging, less user-friendly for the customer, less user-friendly for everybody, for the shipping companies, for everybody. So I had a good experience with them so far. So it'll either be on there or, of course, back to Kickstarter. Boy, I wish Kickstarter would update their website. It's been pretty much the exact same thing since I started. They haven't touched the thing. They processed billions of dollars of money through the website, or at least hundreds of millions, many hundreds of millions, and they haven't touched the website, I feel like, ever. Maybe minor thing. So yeah, it'll be in one of those places.
Now with that particular game, and I just want to touch on this a little bit. It was a struggle to get that first game out, without a doubt. Okay, yeah, you don't even want to think about it. If you had to do it over, which you're getting a chance to do it over, are you going to be doing all the things that you really wanted to do originally, what you envisioned?
We're going to do that and more for this game. The one thing we're not going to do, like if I had to do it over, what would we not have done? Miniatures. The game does not need miniatures. Miniatures hold the game back. I love miniatures. I make some awesome miniatures.
I have to agree with it.
The game does not need miniatures.
It doesn't.
Really nice standees, really easy to use graphic design, awesome containers to hold the components in the boxes. That's the kind of stuff we're going for this. I want the best trays, the best holding components, the best dice, the most readable stuff. and ideally, if everything goes well, I have a cool partnership with a really great publisher. I can't talk about exactly who yet, secret, but we may have an app as well. We're not going to remove this stuff that you'll want for the app. If you want to say, screw the app, I hate apps. Some people don't like apps. If you're old, you like to pick up a book, you can use the book. But if you want to use the app, especially if you're in another country and you can't read English very well, or you can, but your group can't, and you want to play this game, which is very text heavy and narrative heavy and story and ultra thematic, the app will be something that we can hit a button. French, German, Polish, Spanish, and we can get you that language translation in the app so you can read the story. And maybe, if you're really lucky, if I have the time, I'll do voiceovers for all of the actual storylines. So if you don't want to read it and you just want to listen to it. So, I'm not just a game publisher. I play games. I have a huge game collection like you, Rob. I have tons of games, a lot I can't get to yet, but I've been playing Oathsworn lately. Oathsworn is awesome, okay?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's so fun.
Great guys, too.
Doesn't do a lot, but what it does do is it reads the story to you. It's a choose your own adventure app. You hit, I'm doing this, and it reads the story to you. It's got a little play button, reads the story, makes it easy.
Does this give you the chance to, with the app, because let's face it, apps do have their place in the universe. Does this give you a chance that if you come up with something, hey, I've got another storyline, if I just change these tiles a little bit and this, that, and the other, to add more stories and more scenarios and more, maybe campaign modes and stuff like that?
So we're probably going to put out 100%. We're probably going to put out approximately an additional probably 50% more scenarios than we had in the beginning. And we're going to update all the current ones to the new updated rule set and stuff like that we're doing. And we're going to put in some secrets in the current ones. So when you want to play them again, you're not going to know what's going to happen on purpose. So I'm going to make everything replayable again. I'm not going to redo everything to where you won't recognize it. I'm not changing the rules, but I'm going to update the stories. And then we're going to have a ton of new stories. But then for the really epic players who want more, because this game is not a campaign game. Let me tell you this. This is very important because everybody, and this is a major thing right now, people are tired of campaign games. Oathsworn's a campaign game. And I'm lucky I got a group that will show up every week and play. But there's a lot of people out there who don't have that luxury. Okay? It's a luxury. It's not a standard to get a group. It's like D&D. How do you get a group together to play D&D or any tabletop role-playing game? It's hard. When you get older, get your friends to show up every week. It's like near impossible. Everybody's got a commitment. Secrets of the Lost Tomb is not a campaign game. It is a scenario-based game with super narrative. You pick your scenario and you play it just like Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition in that regard. So it's a one-shot. You pick one. I want to play the Pharaoh with the blue eyes. I want to play the Great Apocalypse scenario with the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And you just pick that scenario. You start at the beginning whenever you want and just play it. That's it. So you don't have to play them in sequence. You can play them in any order you want. It doesn't matter. There's no carryover from game to game at all. Nothing. You start fresh every game, so you can play it with any players you want. You can play with the same group. You can play it like a campaign if you so desire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you want. But if you don't want, if you're like, you know what, I really want to play this one. This is super exciting to me. This theme I really want to play, you can play it. And because it has so many tiles and so many random elements that are in the game, you never know what's going to happen. You keep playing them over and over and over, and they're always going to be slightly different in some way. So the idea is that we're going to add more scenarios in that app as we unlock them. So for, let's say, $5, you get another scenario, a couple more scenarios, or maybe, X amount, you can buy it on the app. And with all the components you have, you won't need anything else printed. You can play more stuff with the current stuff you have. For just small little cost, you get more content. And that's the ideal, to be able to translate it to multiple languages, to be able to get more content out to you with no shipping costs, which suck right now for everybody, with no printing costs for us, which sucks too. So we can get more content in your hands and you can enjoy more gaming. That's the major goal.
We're going to talk about some of those struggles, but I want to continue with the catalog a little bit. you take a look at your catalog, Little China, Rambo, Librarians, a lot of big IPs. How taxing dealing with those type of IPs was it? And then, I mean, would you do it again? If I think International Monsters, which is another one.
Monster Hunter International, yeah.
Monster Hunter International. I'm sorry, it escaped me for a second there. But what are some of the struggles? And then, after everything you experience, because those are, especially Big Trouble in Little China. That is an unbelievable game. And, could you reprint it? Once the license runs out, it's something that a lot of people need to experience. And now they have to try to find it on the second market.
For $300.
Yeah, at a ridiculous price.
Yeah. So
what would you do differently?
When I started with my first license, which was Big Trouble in Little China, my
Mm-hmm.
hairline came down to here. Okay.
Yes, I remember.
And then since I started doing licenses, my hairline started to recede up into
Mm-hmm.
my head. So it it can be very stressful. It adds a lot of work and a lot of risk to every game for a game publisher, especially a small independent game publisher that doesn't have investors, that doesn't have debt or loans, that doesn't have tons of money sitting around that they can just risk and hope for the best.
Well, one of the biggest risks is if the game doesn't fun or anything like that, it's F you pay me. They don't care.
That's right. So you pay them in advance. So
Yeah.
every license has a guarantee. You put the money out in advance. You hope for the best, whatever it is. And of course, every license is different depending on the popularity of the license, the power of the license itself. It's going to have different ranges in which, it's going to be asking for amounts. Like Marvel licenses are very high. Star Wars are very high. Big Trouble in Little China, still pretty substantial.
Yeah.
However, it's all dependent on, the time, the licensor, and, the deal you can make with them. When I first got that game, it was owned by 20th Century Fox and Boom Studios Comics. So I worked together and partnered with Boom Studios and 20th Century Fox to make that epic game. Between me making that game, getting it out, and that license timeline, which took a long time to get the game out. It's a huge game, a lot of content, a lot of work. 20th Century Fox was bought by Disney. So it completely changes the dynamic in which the license are done. And of course, I'm sure the price. So we haven't been able to yet re-up the license yet. Maybe in the future, I'll be able to go and attempt to bring it back out as a reprint. But I gave it some time. We had a lot of other projects to put out. And, you can't do it all. It's a lot of expenses involved in every license, in every game, unknown things too. They just come up. So, it's certainly one of our best games. I'm very proud of it. We worked very hard on it.
Oh, it's a masterpiece.
Similar things could be said about Rambo. Rambo was a major challenge. It was a very hard game to make. There was a lot of issues along the way that we had to face and deal with and work with. There's a lot of things that people don't expect. When you go out and you see a lot of licensed games, oftentimes it's either lots of stills or reuse the same stills over and over from the TV show or the movie, or you'll see a lot of kind of ugly looking art that's being re-represented. And there's reasons for that. Not all of it is intentional. They don't want to, no game publisher wants to give you ugly art. Sometimes that happens because they don't have the budget. Sometimes it happens because they're not allowed to reproduce the likeness of the specific characters. So they have to find a way to make it look so different that it looks off. And that's on purpose because the licensor, the person selling the license, let's say, Universal Pictures, won't allow you to use, the actor's face. And they make you change it so dramatically that it doesn't look or resemble the person anymore. So then it looks off to the person looking at it.
Right.
And they're trying to look at it. And that's by contract. You have no choice. And sometimes that stuff comes out later after the fact. You find out that there's stipulations that, we actually can't let you use these things. And I've already, maybe did half the game by then, and then you have to do the best you can to get it out. We were lucky where we were able to create a lot of unique original art for the games we've done. And we worked very hard to make sure that we get the likenesses that we can get. With Librarians, Electric Entertainment, and us, we worked very hard together. They did a lot of work to help us.
Great. That's a tremendous game.
We were able to get a lot of likenesses and a ton of stills approved and put into the game, which takes a long time on our side and their side. And we had a great partnership with them, and they helped us out a lot. And we were able to put out a beautiful game, with lots of stills. Some people don't like stills. I think the reason is because usually there's not enough to fulfill differentiation between stuff. We had 4 seasons of TV and 3 movies to use to create that game, which is lucky. With Firefly, for instance, they had 1 season, short season of the show, and they probably weren't even allowed to use the movie Serenity. And I'm just speculating. I don't know. I never worked for Gale 4, so I was just a fan. I bought the game. I played it. They most likely were only able to use the show, and there was only 1 season for a full game. That's not easy to try to find stuff that works, for what you're describing with that. And they may not allow you to even do original art. It all depends on that contract. So these are some of the challenges that I think are not obvious to people when they're like, as a fan, like that's just some of the things, and again, you put out a guarantee, you're putting out money right away. And then you have a royalty you have to pay as well for these licenses as well. So in addition to that, you put out the guarantee. When that has been surpassed, now you pay a royalty, and you have to do accounting on everything. So it adds accounting work, it adds additional money that has to go out, and it doesn't matter if you make money. It matters if you brought money in and sold it. So you could actually be losing money, but you still have to pay the royalties, for instance. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a lot of things that people don't understand. All they want to hear about is the game and how it plays and this, that, and the other. And they don't understand all this stuff that goes behind the scenes to try to get that into their hands. They could care less. Why do I have to pay $65 for this when normally it should be $49.99? Well,
exactly. And I got to be honest with you, it's not their problem. And I'll be honest.
No, it isn't.
As a customer of games and a publisher, when I buy a game, it's not my problem that the company had all these issues. They created an MSRP, which is something where, that's the price that they would promise for the customer. If I do a Kickstarter, they promised to sell it to me for that amount, and they gave me a particular shipping price. If it was a shipping estimate, it could be anything. Now I'm not expecting. I'll be expecting that to change if they said it was an estimate, which many do. Well, my Kickstarters, I have to give them estimates when I do the Kickstarter, because it may be 6 to 8 months or a year before I even have the game ready to ship, and shipping changes every day. So I always give people
especially now,
and I do my best. People often will be like, "Where's the pledge manager? I want to do this and that." And I try to tell people, I'm doing my best to get you the best shipping prices. So I'm working really hard to get you those before I put out the pledge manager, because I never want to put myself in a situation where I charge you, or I tell you the shipping is $20. I take your money, and then I got to call you a few months down the line and say, sorry, I took your money. I need another $20.
Right.
I tell you, I need that $35 right when I need it. So I can tell you that's the shipping price. I don't want to surprise you. It's a lot of gamers on a budget. They can't take these surprises. It screws them over completely. I don't want to do that. And if you can't afford it, if something comes up, my company, I'm always very reasonable. Somebody needs a refund. Listen, I can't take back the Kickstarter fee, but I can do the best I can for you. And I always take care of my customers. Sometimes it takes a few days. Sometimes it takes some time because it's just me and one guy. But I always take care of my people.
Could be worse. You could be Mythic. Just take the money and hire too many employees and all the other stuff. And overextend yourself. I mean, it makes it that type of thing that has happened makes it really hard for a small guy like you. All right, because you're living game by game, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so you're living game by game, okay, and you're praying you don't take a beating on something. You're taking a tremendous risk on going with an IP, okay, and if the game fails, well, guess what? Does your family get to eat that year? No. Is anybody going to worry about that? No, unfortunately. And then you get these bigger companies that give all this bad name to Kickstarter to some degree. I mean, people have a lot of faith, and there's a lot of good people that do some business in Kickstarter.
Yep.
Okay, you've always done the right thing. It may take longer. You're giving them an estimate, but you're always going to have somebody complaining. Okay,
You're always going to get your game with me. You're always going to get your game. You know, if I don't get paid, that's okay. It's happened many times. If I can't pay myself, if I don't take a salary from the game doesn't make money, I'll do my best. I'll try to print a reasonable amount. Usually I don't do big print runs. I can't afford it. Sometimes you'll see big numbers come up on Kickstarter. Wow, $100,000 after Kickstarter takes its fees, after we pay our marketing, after we pay everybody, after we figure out what the cost was up front. I got to basically pay back what I invested in, and then
after we send the game to Rob.
And then if shipping is too much money or more money, all of those things happen. Maybe I lost on that in the beginning, and I have to hope that the little extra I printed will sell at a convention or sell at retail, if I even have enough left over for that, to maybe then make a couple dollars as profit, or make enough to put back in the coffers of the company to make the next product, or to go to the next thing.
Well, think about the conventions. The cost of the conventions to have that little section every year. Okay, how many games do you have to sell to pay for that? The meals, the hotels, the expenses, the employees that you got to bring in, for the couple of days, the badges and all the other shite, the airfare. Let's go even into that. Every time I try to comprehend that type of number for a small business like you, I'm thinking, well, how many games does he have to sell at this convention? And he's got to pray they ship it to him and make sure it's there.
That's the other thing. There's been conventions I got there and my stuff didn't make it, or makes it the next day. I miss a day of sales, or I am trying to go to the depot, which has happened. I've had to go to like a UPS depot and force them to give me the product so I can put it in a rental car and get it to the convention because they won't deliver it on time. There's been everything you can think of. I've done it. Mm-hmm. I've done it myself.
How do you survive?
I don't send a random person. I do it. I got to do it, So you survive. You do what you have to do. I go to conventions anyway because I want to see the fan in person. I want to show you games. I love it. I want to show you games. I want you to tell me about the games. Even if you're not happy, I want to hear the feedback. I want to know what you think. I want to meet people, shake their hand and say, hey, thanks for being a fan of Everything Epic. Thanks for getting our games. Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about,
It's a hell of a sacrifice, my friend.
That's what it's all about. We love games. That's why we do it. We're not here to kill people, to hurt people. We're not making pharmaceuticals. It's not life or death. It's fun. It's a diversion from everyday life, and it brings people together. Mm-hmm. COVID brought people apart. We want to bring people together. Tabletop Simulator is great. It's not the same. It's great, but it's not the same. You laughing with your friends next to you, joking around, BSing while playing a game, having a drink or eating together or chilling out, just being able to forget your everyday troubles, be together. That's what gaming is about. Whether it's tabletop role-playing games, board games, card games, whatever. That's what it's about. Being with your friends or family and being together. That's what it's all about.
Let me ask you this, Chris. Okay. The 2023 you, okay, can go back and grab by the neck the 2012 you. What's the first thing that you say to yourself?
Man, I'll tell you, that's a really tough question.
You didn't expect me to make them easy. You didn't think you were going to get the same ham and egg questions that you would normally get here on the mighty tabletop world.
I think there's been a couple times where we made a couple games that weren't true to what Everything Epic really stands for. There's a couple games that weren't quite there, that we weren't super happy about. Like, for instance, one is Metal Dawn. Unfortunately,
Which one? I'm sorry.
Metal Dawn. It was
Okay.
an old school game. It looked cool. It had some interesting mechanics, but it wasn't quite there. It didn't really make it.
I didn't think it was bad. I still have it.
Listen, I would go back and remind myself, hey, everything Epic is about telling a story and being with theme, doing everything you can to do what's best for the story.
Right.
It's not about making the game for specific, like to try to make everybody happy. It's about making a game that the people who love telling a story and playing in a narrative experience and immersing themselves in something, that's what it's all about. And to just stick with those things and to make sure that you're doing that at all times, which we've constantly having to keep reminding ourselves of that. The other thing, of course, is be careful with shipping. And I've known that from the beginning, but even then, we've still over the years had problems with fulfillment companies, shipping companies, freight companies. Logistics is literally the worst part of making board games.
I'm going to ask you a tough question here, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Honest to God, because it made me think of it. The guy that did Metal Dawn with you got himself into a lot of hot water, as you know, right? And did you catch any of that flack or heat for putting out that game with him? Because I always wonder that, I know we've known each other for a long time, and you've always been a stand-up, good man, plain and simple, great man, even. Okay. Somebody I've always admired and always enjoy. You've always checked on me, my family, everything. We've become very good friends. And I've never asked you this. It's just, you have somebody like him, and I knew what was going on with this guy. All right. And I just go, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, what are you doing? But you keep your mouth shut in this business. Okay. Because it's, at the end of the day, what is it? It's a dirty business. People are always trying to find
this business is about games. I stay out of politics. I stay out of all that kind of stuff. Stay away from drama. I'm here because I love to play games. I love to make games. That's why I'm here. I'm a theater guy at heart. I love telling a story. I love acting. I love singing. I love telling a story and playing games. That's why I do it. I don't do it for politics. I don't do it to look cool.
Right.
I want games to look cool. I want people to have fun with the games. That's what matters.
And exactly, it's the same thing with this here. Why am I doing this? One, I love to help people. I love, I love to turn on the camera and show a game. I love to do what I do. Okay. And I don't get involved in any of that mishmash. But I've seen in the past a lot of people that have nothing to do with what somebody does, and it rolled downhill on them. And I wondered that with this particular game, that part of the problem that it had, was it because of the association with the party at hand?
I'm not going to say anything bad about them. I honestly, I haven't heard anything in many years. And
okay,
honestly,
that's what I was
none
saying.
of it's come to us, thankfully.
Good.
We stay out of it
because it would be a shame if it did.
We do what we have to do, and we put out the best games we possibly can. That's all we do. And we try to be honest with people about stuff, and we try to take care of our customers to the best of our ability. That's what everything Epic does. And I think the people who know our company, the people who know our games, they know that. They got my email. If somebody really needs me, they can call me. They can get me on Facebook. They can get anywhere they want. If I'm at a convention, put me in a corner. You got something you need, I'm going to take care of them. That's the
find you in the chat at Rob's Tabletop World too.
Yeah, absolutely. Is anybody saying anything? Do I?
No, and I asked you this not to stir up, but I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that this is a great company, that it has no association with anything that had transpired with any of that baloney. And that was my point of this question. That if you took any heat there, it was unnecessary. No, you're not that guy.
No, I'm not.
No, and I wanted to make sure. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Um,
I'm too busy to be that guy. I got too many games to make.
well, I mean, geez, I couldn't imagine being a small publisher like you, and being able to, first of all, try to get your name out there. Okay. And and then have to go through COVID. Okay. While you've got projects in the stove, and come out of this on the other side. There's a lot of people that aren't coming out of this on the other side
It's true.
very well. I mean, how are you doing it?
Hard work. I don't stop. I work 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
If I got to work 12, 16 hours, I would do what I got to do. I take a break to go to the gym. I take a break to eat, say hello to my wife. If I need to, eventually I get to go on vacation. I go to a convention, which is a pretend vacation because it's really working. But whatever I got to do, I do what I got to do. And that's just my father came to this country many years ago from Greece. And he was one of a family of 10. He was the youngest of all of his siblings. He came here to this country to do something and to work hard. He wanted to have a different life. None of his other siblings ever came to America. They all stayed in Greece. He had a dream. He wanted to do it. He came here. He started his own business. It was called Apollos Painting. Okay. And he did whatever it took to take care of the customer. He didn't know about marketing. He didn't know about, fancy stuff. He knew how to do a beautiful job. He knew how to take care of people and to make them happy. And if they needed something, if they weren't happy, he would do whatever it took to make them happy. And that's how he was so successful in his business. It was word of mouth. It was very hard work for 40 years straight, from when he got here to when he passed away. He was working the week before he died, still working at 63, hard on 40-foot ladders, and he didn't care. He did whatever it took because he just loved taking care of the people. That's what he would do.
Mm-hmm.
You just do what you got to do. That's
in your blood.
That's in your blood. You do what you have to do to take care of the customer.
I come from the same type of family. All we've ever known is work. Okay. We're never afraid of it. You never see me outside, taking a piece of chalk and drawing a little square and making my safe space. Okay. We're somebody that we are a family. We now live on this, 20-something acre farm. It's a lot of work. Doesn't matter if I'm sick or not. You know what I mean? I continually work hard. I'm going to go till my last breath. And I understand fully what you're saying because we're cut from the same mold in a lot of ways. That it's you give everything you got until you can't give no more. And then you give a little more.
That's right. That's right. I drink a lot of coffee and a lot of water. I had a kidney stone during COVID, worst pain of my life. Still had to work. You do what you got to do. I just drink more water now and keep working. That's okay. Gallon and a half a day. You keep going. The point is, do what you can. You make the best games you possibly can with the money you have, so you don't put yourself into potential bad risk. That's why I only have one employee. I have only one, just me and another guy. So if he can't do it, I do it. And if I can't do it, I have to do it. There is no I can't do it. That's it. You just do it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about Agents of Smirch. Now, I have the original, okay? And how did that come about?
It's a very interesting story.
That's
Because
why I ask.
Because it's a great story. It's back in like 2011, 2012. I backed that Kickstarter. It was one of the first Kickstarters I backed. I think it was like maybe even the first or second Kickstarter I ever backed.
Summit Games, right?
Yep, 8th Summit.
8th Summit. That's what it was.
And I messaged that guy, the original publisher, back then, and I said to him, I was like, I really love your game. How did you make this game? How did you do this on Kickstarter? And he was just starting out himself. But he was so nice and so kind, and he gave me some just simple advice. And he's like, you can do this. You go on Kickstarter.com, you can do this and that. Just a little bit. And it was just enough to help me start. Just enough. I don't even know if he remembers that much of then, but it was just enough. so that I can come up with the idea and feel confident to go ahead and try to make my own game. And since then, I never forgot. And I've always loved the original Smirch because the stories, there were so many stories and they were so funny and crazy. And there's just so many of them, you know? But over the years, of course, mechanics change. What kind of games people accept have changed quite a bit. And so I went back and I spoke with Jason over there and I said, hey, listen, I've always been a huge fan. Let me make this game, redo it, bring it to the current age for you, make it look beautiful. We'll edit it. We'll make everything as epic as possible. Make Agents of Smirch Epic Edition. We'll put this out. And he was like, you know, you're one of the only people I would trust to want to do this because I know you love the game. And so he went ahead and we put together an agreement and we went ahead. And it's been a great experience. You know, working with him was very, very easy. Very, very. It was like it's one of the top license technically deals. It's not technically a license, but one of the easiest agreements I've had to work with somebody. He doesn't make board games anymore. He only works with other people to license his stuff or to redo his stuff. He does like publishing deals with other people. He does his own thing. You know, he doesn't do publishing anymore. He had enough a few years back.
Yeah.
Called it quits. But you know, Agents of Smirch was very successful. We were very happy with it. And we're going to be putting out more content.
Oh, really?
Ways to maybe do some kind of a translation. Because again, the game has 400 pages, over 2,000 random encounters, over 2,000. It's crazy, you know? And we're looking for some methods to do that. So, but it was a great opportunity. And, you know, from all the way back in the day to come back and have the chance to remake Smirch. I know most of the people are very happy with the new version. Some people prefer the old version. They like the way the mechanics were back then. That's always going to be the case. And people can house rule the game however they want. They own the game.
Right. It's a game.
And use the old ways because they still own it. I still own my copy. I didn't get rid of my original version of Smirch. If they want to buy it, they can do that.
Yeah. I'm going to buy the new edition from you when I get off here. And everybody, if you want to go get some of these games, go to everythingepic.com, I believe.
Everythingepic.com, everythingepic.us. We got them all.
.us, and you buy directly from our good friend Chris, okay, and he'll ship it right out to you, right? You get it right out to everybody, and you know, you want to get this Agents of Smirch. I was very fortunate enough to be able to do the one of the videos for during the Kickstarter, and I was just blown away by the, you know, the short story that you had in there, which was just glorious. Okay, how it worked and everything like that, and the changes. The first edition, believe it or not, I had actually gotten from him because he had donated for an auction at the Dice Tower. And it was one of the few things that I bidded on because it looked so interesting. That, and I believe he did a game called Police Precinct, or something like that.
Have Police Precinct. I don't know if he did that game. I don't know if he did Police Precinct, but that game did come out at like the same time.
Yeah, I think it's him though. I really do, because I remember seeing it on the table and I was looking at Smirch and I said, well, this looks different. You know, the board wasn't as sexy as the new board that you did, but
Common Man Games. I just looked it up because I couldn't remember. Common Man Games was the company that did Police Precinct.
Okay, so maybe he was just at the same table with it, but he had the little head thing, and I wonder if I still.
It had the same artist, Rob. Police Precinct had the same artist for the characters as original Smirch and as the original Resistance Avalon game.
Oh, really?
And Secrets of the Lost Tomb, my game, I also hired the same artist to do my original characters. That artist's name was George Pastouras, also Greek. And
no wonder why he got a job.
That's right. And he did really interesting, back then, really interesting portrait face characters. So he would like have
it was beautiful art.
That's what he used to do. He was like a portrait face specialist for characters.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, he did that game's art. He did Tomb here, and he did the original Smersh, and a few other games like Avalon Resistance, which is one of my favorite social deduction games ever. Played it a billion times. All of the characters in that, like the characters on the back of the cards that you're not supposed to reveal. Some people do by accident. Those are all done by the same artist. That's probably why you get the games in your head.
There you go. But the thing is, if you haven't gotten this game, you have to get this game. This is a must-have. If you don't remember the old Smersh, I'm telling you, go get the new Smersh. Go over to Everything Epic. A matter of fact, we're going to bring it out here. My son has finally started helping me play some games on Thursday nights. So I think that's one of the things that we're going to try to do, and get that going. As you know, I've been down a little bit for a while, but the old boy keeps swinging. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, I don't want to hold you here forever, but the terrain disaster.
Listen, Upzone for us was very successful. We're blessed to have.
And I don't mean a disaster. And let me just clarify something for anybody that might hear this. I'm going to try to be as nice as I can be, because I could be nasty. No, I could be nasty. You could be politically correct. How's that? Some dirtbags that you had sent the prototype to decided to just copy what you did, basically. So am I wrong?
For 10 years, I've been sending prototypes to reviewers and previewers and paid previewers to help us make content. So it's not just us showing our game stuff, it's other people and their thoughts and their way of speaking, because it helps people see what we do better, right?
Right.
I send stuff to you, you talk about it. So, and people who would listen to you and follow you, they understand the way you talk about games. And sometimes they don't like the way you say stuff, and they like the way somebody else says stuff. And we send stuff out to lots of people, and whoever has the time. I mean, really,
I thought I was the only one.
You've always done videos for us for everything as quick as possible. The quickest, the best. I mean, nobody's better than Rob when it comes to getting out stuff. Well, in general, but getting out stuff quick, you're the best.
Thank you.
Nobody's been better. Honest to God, this isn't a bullshit pink smoke. This is real. You've been a great friend to Everything Epic forever. Anytime I'm like, hey Rob, it's like a week before. I'm like, oh Rob, I just got the prototype. Do you think you can make a video for us? You're like, no problem, Chris. Send it to me. I'll get it out right away. Within 24 hours, usually, you're like, hey Chris, I'm putting the video up tomorrow. Blah blah. I'm like, Jesus, like this guy. But anyway, with Upzone, we had a really unique product. We have a really unique product.
And you could still get it over. You could still get it over at Everything Epic.
Still available. Yep. And we got more new Upzone stuff coming soon, which is completely new and unique, with awesome new ways of using the Upzone that no one else has thought of yet. So pop-up books and pop-up stuff it's not a completely brand new thing. Pop-ups have been around for a long time. But the designer I'm working with suddenly had a dream during COVID to make terrain out of pop-up stuff. Now, there was one pop-up thing before that was a little bit different. It was like more like a black and white or sepia toned, very simplistic, build your own pop-up stuff. So it's like you bought it from them and you'd like, it's like a craft, arts and crafts. You had to put it together yourself. Ours, the goal was as easy and fast as possible. Upzone was about buy it, open the box, pop up the stuff, play. That's the goal, right? It was.
I did a video on it. It was amazing.
It's super fast. It looks nice. It's easy. It's durable. Will it last you 100 years? No. Will it get you playing and having fun faster? Yes. That's the goal, right? You buy Warhammer terrain, beautiful terrain, gorgeous stuff. $50 for one wall, but it's gorgeous. It's the best. It's like the best ever, right? But it's expensive, and it should be expensive because it costs a lot. But you have to assemble it, you have to paint it, you have to put it together. Upzone was open the box, you have terrain. A big, full Warhammer standard table of terrain, 60 by 44 inches, boom, on your table, full table. It's gorgeous, right? Easy, fast, 2 seconds. It's set up, literally 2 minutes. We sent out a bunch to previewers for this Kickstarter so we can get reviewers and stuff talking about it to help build a buzz so people know about it. One of these said reviewers, unfortunately, we sent a prototype to, never heard back from them, never heard anything. Okay, well, they didn't get time, didn't have time to do it. We asked for our prototype back, never got the prototype back. Okay. During this campaign, it was very successful for us. You know, we got a lot of backers, a lot of really excited people. We had 4 different types of terrain, plus extras, all kinds of stuff. We did our best to really put it out. And the product's already been put out. The product's been delivered to customers. It's one of our most successful products in customers' hands with the least amount of errors ever. I think we barely had any damages and barely ever any. There was like, I think we got no returns. We had a couple of things where we had to send out like a replacement item. But when I say a couple, I mean a small handful, okay, which is awesome. Like I'm so excited about that. Cost me way more than I was expecting to print this product for, but I'm so happy people are loving it, right? That's the best thing. We sent out this stuff to the previewer a year later after we put out we're about to put out our product is just shipping from the manufacturer. They put up a Kickstarter for their own pop-up terrain.
And it looked almost the same too.
And
am
so,
I right?
Listen, they use similar name conventions. We had a cathedral. They had a cathedral. They never sent us back our terrain. They never really put out any kind of review video for us or anything. They just decided to make their own terrain, unfortunately. And you know, it's, you know, we don't own. So we had opportunities where we could have potentially done a patent. Okay, patents cost a lot of money to create. And patents cost a lot of money to defend. And the worst part about patents, especially for stuff like this in the gaming industry, patents hurt the creativity of other creators. Our goal was not to own pop-ups and then anytime somebody wanted to do a pop-up thing to police them and stop them. Our goal was to make a really great pop-up thing that people can use for their gaming and sell that and make people happy. Okay.
But even if they came to you, okay, did the video, sent the stuff back and said, hey, Chris, we have an idea. We wanted to put up some different type of pop-up stuff. Is it okay we do this? What's the first thing you would have said? Please do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe we start a movement.
I would have said, maybe you want to work together. We could cross promote. We could do something, you know? Yeah. That's what I
All they had to do was just let you know, give you your stuff back and do what they were obligated to do, which was make a video, but they chose to take a different route.
Yep. So, you know, they could have reached out to us, all that kind of stuff. Instead, they just decided to just go ahead and do it. I still never got my prototype back.
Right. Still. And prototypes aren't cheap.
No, they're very
expensive. People don't realize.
They're not just expensive to create. They're expensive to ship from the manufacturer and to ship to the reviewer. Now it takes time to do reviews and previews and stuff. And some of them we do paid. Some of them we get amazing friends like Rob to do them for us, you know, just to help us out. Not many people do that. Very few these days will do that to help you out because they want to help small publishers grow and just want to help people out, which is rare.
I've never asked you for a fee.
Never, not once, ever, and I don't think you ever would.
No, I don't ever. Well, no, I've been accumulating the bill, but no.
Wait till that invoice shows up because you've done so much. You've done so much for us over the years. I mean,
I appreciate it, but you know, it's always been a pleasure, and I always believed that I wanted to help people. I really, really did, from my charities to all the other stuff that I've ever done from the very start with you know, Tom, and you know, going every year and creating something that he could sell and make some money for his charities. Then we started charities, and that's how the channel started. Was how can we help people? How can we make a difference? How can we put games in people's hands during very, very difficult times?
Yep.
I mean, very, very difficult times, and continue to do it. Nothing stopped us. 4,000 videos later, we're still I'm still cranking along. Just as much as you're cranking out, games like a machine. I'm going to tell you this quick story because it's kind of funny when you talk about prototypes. I called you on Saturday, and I had went into a shop, and the guy, oh hey Rob, from Rob's Tabletop World. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. So we got to talking and this, that, and the other, and he was talking about prototypes, and that some small little channel came in there and it was saying, oh my God, I asked for a prototype and they sent something to me and then they made me ship it back. And I looked at the guy, I go, do you realize how much some of those things cost? I go, that here's somebody that puts their faith in you and says, hey, can you make a video for me to hopefully drum up, some interest in this, because I'm taking a risk. Every time you decide to go out and make a game, it's like going to the ticket window at the Kentucky Derby. Okay?
Yeah.
Win, place, or show. And show and don't pay.
It doesn't, but it does still get the game out. And when I ask people to send me the prototype back, I try to always give them a return label of some sort. I pay for it.
Yeah.
I don't ever expect the previewer to pay for a return for me. It is a little inconvenient. Sometimes I might have to go to the post office, UPS, or drop it off. I try to get a pickup if I can from their place. But yeah, I guess the biggest thing with the Upzone is it's not so much that they wanted to make something. It's more of when you send something to a reviewer or a previewer, you never expect them to suddenly become a publisher. And what some people told me is, oh, why didn't you have a contract or an NDA or a non-compete with the previewer? As soon as you start making things more complex for somebody to do you a favor, they're not going to do you a favor, or they can't do the favor, or they don't have time, or they don't want to sign, or whatever. And then you can get a video from somebody. It's not something that's practical, and it's also not nice, right? I'm trusting you. I'm giving you respect. You're going to respect me. You do the best you can.
You think you would make an agreement like two honest people, but there's plenty of that goes on. Like there's been times I've gotten a thing and says, hey, can you make a video for this? But this can't go out until X date. And then other reviewers just put out that video way beforehand and say, oops, that publisher isn't going to sue them. It's about getting that video out first and making sure you get the most views and this, that, and it's a dirty, dirty business.
The publisher's not going to sue them, but some of them might send a tactical squad to their home. You never know. Anything can happen.
No, but if they're big enough, they can make life tough for a publisher. Okay. And I've seen people, certain channels that aren't getting a great reputation do that kind of sneaky, underhanded stuff, and yet smile. Snake oil salesman. That's what you're dealing with. You got good ones, you got bad ones, and then you just got pure old rotten ones. Okay, and it's like any other business out there, Chris. And I think you've seen that over the last 10 years. You got to keep your mouth shut a lot of times, but sometimes you just want to get on top of that mountaintop and scream, hey, this is all the stuff that you people don't know. The things that go on. And there's a lot.
I try to keep my mouth shut, and I try to make great games.
Yeah.
So people can have fun. I want people to be diverted from everyday problems.
Right.
I want people
not more problems.
Everyday problems,
Right.
I'd rather be thinking about how can I kill Cthulhu? How can I, how do I get that evil Dr. Lobo? Because then you forget about your everyday problems.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're in the story. You're in a movie.
Yeah.
You're being somebody else. That's your dream. That's what I really want. I don't really the rest of it.
I have a tendency on Sundays to talk about it, but the rest of the time, it's how can I take you away from, oh dear God, how am I going to pay my mortgage? Oh dear God, how am I going to make my car payment? Friday, we can't afford to go out to dinner, but I guess we can get this pizza in. And Rob helped us make this smart decision on this game that was affordable for us. We could sit here and do this Friday night as a family and just forget about everything for a day or two. You know, just try to make sure that they make smart decisions, you know?
That's the goal.
Yeah. And then, you know, I'll scream on Sunday, you know, my vlog, I'll scream all day long about, hey, keep your money in your pocket and go buy yourself a game. Stop donating to people. Don't donate to me. Don't donate to this one or that one. I don't say people particular. I mean, there's some people, if you really believe it, if it's TV for you, then make that your cable payment. Okay.
Yeah.
If you use it that way. Okay. Thank you for doing things. There's certain people that do this and do a great job and help a lot of people and do a lot of good things. You know, you think about the big channels, they do it better than anybody. And it's like watching TV. So, you know, I get it. But, you know, some guy that's just, you know, well, if I can't make a video, if I don't get paid, I can't make videos. Oh, bullshit. You can make a video, you turn on the camera and you sit there and you talk. It's as simple as that. I work a full-time job. Matter of fact, I just got home from my job. I left at 1:00 this morning. Okay. Drove home, turned on that thing, and we just talked for an hour.
That's right.
Okay. Then when I get off this, I'm going to have to edit this and get this ready for Wednesday. Okay. Then I got to film a few more things. And then I'm going to go to bed and do it all over again.
Yep.
It's called hard work.
You love telling the people what's going on. You love talking to people.
Yeah.
You love games. You love the fans. You just want to do it, you know? And when you want to do something, when you love something, it's a lot easier to do. You know, do I love doing all the accounting work? Do I love logistics? No, it's hard work. But I love getting the games out, and I love seeing people's faces when they come and see me at a convention and their eyes are all lit up and they say that that's their favorite game. Or if they've seen like Big Trouble Little China for the first time and they're like, oh my God, there's a Big Trouble Little China game. You know, I love that. It's a great feeling. You know, it's not hand over fist money. I'm a multi-billionaire with a Rolls Royce. That's not why I make board games. I could be a stockbroker or something else, some kind of other kind of crooked job, or, you know, something else. You know, I don't have to be a crook stockbroker. I could be a good guy stockbroker, but I could be doing anything else.
Right.
To try to become some kind of billionaire, you know, millionaire. I don't do it for that. You don't make videos to become a millionaire. You make these things because it's something you love.
Yeah. You believe you're providing a service to people. And I think that's the best thing that if you have that mentality, everything else comes. You know, I'll never be a Rodney. I'll never be this, that, and the other, but I'll always be me. And that's good enough for me.
That's the message that goes back to the 2012.
Yeah.
Just be true to what everything Epic's trying to make. Make epic games that tell a story and do what's best for the story. Do what's best for what people will love.
Well, speaking of Epic, make sure that you go over to the website, take a look at their fantastic catalog. You can order it. Chris will get it out to you quickly. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. I promise you. From Librarians to Smirch to Upzone to all the other things. We didn't even talk about half the games that he has out there. The Vampire game there, that huge, massive role-playing game, which is an experience for everybody. So many fantastic games from such a fantastic and dedicated small publisher. Chris, I can't thank you enough for joining me here today. We've talked for over an hour, and it feels like it was 10 minutes as usual.
It's been a pleasure and an honor to be with you. I'm here anytime. Happy to always talk to you just for fun at any time and any day. Coming up, I'm going to the UK Games Expo to see my fans out in the UK and Europe. I'm going to be doing that first week of June. And after that, of course, I'll be at the one and only Gen Con, which I'll hope to see you there. And friends who want to come see us. As I said, I do it to make amazing games and for the fans. If you hear this at all, if you listen to this at least a little for 5 seconds, if you heard this, if you hear the end, come say hi at Gen Con. If you're in the US, come say hi at a convention. You don't have to buy a game. You don't have to demo game unless you want to. If you want to come demo game, play a game, feel free. Just to come say hi. Come talk to us. We want to see you. That's why we do this. Because we love people who play board games and who play tabletop games. That's
Well,
what
there
we
you
do.
have it. There you have it. Chris, thanks so much. And as always, folks, until next time, you can find this on our podcast that goes up on Wednesday. And also, you'll be seeing this. Well, hopefully, you're watching this now on Wednesday. So until next time, it's your old pal, Rob. We'll see you soon, everybody. Well, there you have it, folks. A fantastic interview. We had a lot of fun talking. Matter of fact, we talked quite a bit. But this was one time that I really kind of didn't tell them what we were going to talk about and just turned the camera on and let it go. And I thought it was very enjoyable. I hope you enjoyed it as well. We'll be back next week. You can hear this on the podcast also if you want to hear it again, and maybe while you're driving and you got a long drive. Make sure you check out our podcast, Rob's Tabletop World. And also, if you want to just watch it again, give us a like and subscribe. Until next time, it's your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon, everybody.